It's Friday night football yet again at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. It's been a wet, late afternoon here in Melbourne. Conditions could favour the Tigers maybe. They've lost 2 by a goal or less. They're struggling, but what about the Cats? They've lost their last 6. They're really in bother. Hello and welcome once again to Friday night football at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. We talk about free falling. Well, after 5 rounds this year, the Cats looked as good as anybody, but they've gone from 2nd to 9th. Their percentage has taken a tumble. And Richmond, well, at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, they've got a very modest record this year. Played 9, won just 3. Jason Dunstall, welcome. You'd reckon they'll both be desperate. There's a lot hanging on this match for the two teams tonight.
Oh, there certainly is. I think the death knell will sound for the loser tonight. A loss tonight and you're just about all but out of the finals calculations, aren't you?
Cats got a good start last week. They kicked 4 of the first 5 goals against the Bombers. I think all of us in the box felt, hey, this is the night they're going to turn it around, didn't you?
Yeah, I think one of the problems with the Cats, though, is that they are playing in bursts and the bursts aren't going long enough. I mean, they didn't even lead at quarter time.
Yeah, well, even when they were winning at the start of the year, they were getting a lot of goals kicked against them, but they were just in shootouts. Too good for the Kangaroos, too good for the Bulldogs, but it just wasn't enough, and in the end the Bombers became irresistible and all opened up for them.
It certainly did. We know how good they are running forward, the Cats, but not so good running the other way. And Richmond last night, well, they finished all over the top of Port Adelaide, didn't they?
Wasn't quite enough, but they did finish strongly, and boy, didn't they need the 4 points. They did not get them. Check these stats out. This is interesting. Geelong, best attack in the AFL, yet they're not in the 8, but can you believe it? Also, the worst defences. Any team had stats like that halfway through a season.
Well, I think that just highlights the fact that there's too many players working ahead of the ball and not enough prepared to do the hard stuff and take a little bit of the pressure off the defence working back the other way.
Well, both teams may be struggling at the moment, but they're chock full of talent. There's no doubt about that. And Robbo will join Jason in a moment to look at the marquee matchups.
The 1999 AFL Coca-Cola Premiership season proudly brought to you by Telstra, making life easier. The McDonald's Footy Burger, the double quarter pounder with cheese. Foster's Light Ice for extreme refreshment. And the new Mitsubishi Magna 3.5, the next generation.
Two teams desperate for a win. You couldn't ask for anything better, Robbo, could you?
We're going to have a beauty tonight, Jason, because I think Richmond, the conditions, as Bruce has already alerted us to, may suit the Tigers, and they're a bunch of desperados, Richmond, as against the Cats.
They certainly are. Some important marquee matchups. Now, Matthew Richardson, he has been in very good form, devastating a couple of weeks ago, taking 18 marks. But he's going to have to basically play a lone hand, I think, and kick a big tally of goals if they're going to get home tonight.
Well, I think he's much maligned, Matthew Richardson, a natural talent, as is this boy here, Ben Graham. We wonder whether he will play forward or back. I'm suggesting he might be up on the forward line. He kicked 4 terrific goals against the Bombers last week. His confidence is sky high.
He certainly was good when moved forward. Now, here's another fellow that could play at either end, Ben Holland. He's the second highest goal kicker for the season with 24, but in recent times he's found himself down back, and he may have the job on someone like a Jason Mooney, who's been terrific this year.
29 goals to Jason Mooney for the Cats this year, and he's been a terrific player for Geelong. I expect him to play forward. I think Ben Holland will be up there too. A few questions to be asked as to which end some of these players are going to play tonight.
Certainly are.
What about the starts? We mentioned Geelong a moment ago, but do you realise they've only been in front twice at quarter time in this whole season? It's a pretty poor record, whereas the Tigers have actually got away to some good starts this year.
Yeah, and certainly that's going to be very important. I think the first quarter will dictate the way things are going to pan out tonight.
Tigers have won plenty of quarters, but they haven't won too many matches this year. So what do they have to do to win? You mentioned Richardson 18 marks, but he only got 1 goal against Hawthorn. What does that tell us?
Well, I think the key is don't criticise Matthew Richardson, criticise their game plan. I mean, if he has to lead up to the wing to get it, look at that, 64 marks in the midfield and only 32 in the forward 50. They have to style their play around, kicking it deeper into the 50-metre line and letting Matthew Richardson take his marks there where he can actually punish the opposition side and have a bigger influence on the match.
And Jason, Geelong's problem in defence is not just since they've been losing. Actually, they had a few problems early in the year. It's just they were kicking more goals than the opposition, weren't they?
It is. Look, it's a terrible statistic. 4 out of the last 5 matches they've conceded 20 goals or more. But don't just blame the defence. They're getting put under enormous pressure because the players further up the ground, the forwards and the midfielders, aren't putting enough pressure on the opposition.
Well, we're looking forward to it. As we've said, it's a do-or-die match for both clubs. Friday night footy, the Melbourne Cricket Ground will return for the opening bounce right after this. This is the first Friday night football meeting in the 90s for the Cats and the Tigers. The last time these teams met, Justin Charles, returning from suspension, clashed angrily before the bounce with Michael Mansfield. Then 20 seconds later, Barry Stoneham was reported for striking Paul Broderick. The whole match was a physical affair, with the Cats twice gaining the lead in the final term. It was firstly up to Richardson and then Powell to bring the Tigers back to life and grab a 9-point victory. Will tonight also be a night to remember?
go to school today.
Why is that?
Because it's Saturday.
McDonald's $3.25 McValue breakfast. A delicious bacon and egg McMuffin, crispy hash brown and piping hot coffee. McDonald's, the only place for breakfast.
For 3 days only, ending Sunday, everything at Mitre 10 is going at up to 50% off in our annual June clearance. Sally's All Clear Sealant, $6.50. Going. Edge Axle Block Splitter, $19.95 each. Going. Black & Decker Coffee Maker, $27.95. Going. There's a minimum of 10% off store-wide, so take a spin down to Mitre 10's annual June clearance for up to 50% off before it's all gone.
Mitre 10, all the 10, every time.
A lot of people want to look beautiful. Mike Jackson, Pamela look like, any operation I do. But this special request, he loves thin chips so much. I help. Okay, time take look. Nurse, unwrap, please. Now, we check thins. Operation, big success. Happy ending!
Thins. Cut thin to fit more in.
The Bank of Melbourne serves you better. On Saturday mornings, when the other banks are sleeping in. The Bank of Melbourne is open to serve you better. The Bank of Melbourne cuts the cost of banking.
Sunday. All that stands between a city.
This isn't a train exercise, is it?
And its annihilation is a man who's never seen combat.
I'm just a biochemist. I drive a Volvo, a beige one.
And another who's been out of action for 30 years.
Welcome to The Rock.
Sean Connery.
You sure you're ready for this?
Nicolas Cage. In the action premiere.
Seems Alcatraz was just reopened.
The Rock. Sunday, 8:30 on 7.
Another good crowd building up. Conditions have improved actually in the last 10 minutes or so. And at the moment, no rain. John Russo, welcome as always to the team on Friday night.
Thanks, Bruce. Looking forward to it and tipping the Tigers.
Good on you. Dipper down there. Dipper, what about Ben Holland? Any news on where he might play tonight?
Well, I know that Jason expects him to play back and Rob up forward. Robbo, you've got the money. He's definitely playing in the forward position as we're accustomed to. And the Tigers aren't going to take the defensive role tonight. They're going to the attack. They know they can win this one. And the conditions too, Bruce, has obviously suited them too, because the last 3 games they've played in these conditions. And I'm really looking forward to tonight to meet one of the great men of sport, Bruce, as we see the great man himself. Coming out of the limo now, great George Foreman. We're going to catch up with him at half-time. I wonder if he's heard of me over in America, Bruce, you reckon?
If he hasn't, Dipper, he would have after tonight. There's no question about that.
Really looking forward to meeting him, Bruce.
Well, he is, as you say. He's larger than life in so many ways. He was a guest on Live and Kicking with Jason and the group on Wednesday night. And we've all, I think, marvelled at his performances over the years, and he's still going strong. There's Ben Graham. Now, where's he playing? That will also be an important factor. So Dipper will have George Foreman at half-time. There's Ben Graham, centre half back by the look of it.
Down back, yep.
He may even go back to full-back. He's drifting back now. Mooney, Gasper's got Mooney, I reckon.
Tim McGrath picking up Richardson, Robbo. You predicted that?
Well, it was always going to be a bit of a question mark about a lot of these matchups all over the ground, Jason. And, gee, Geelong's confidence must be really shattered. It'll be interesting to see how they start this match.
Cats kicking to the left of screen. There's McGrath and Richardson. Graham's got Clapp. Poor bounce to start it. Otten's in the centre square. Such an important game for both these clubs tonight to make something of 99. All is not lost for the winner, you'd reckon. Well done by Holland, and then belts it forward. Not a very good-looking kick, but it's very effective. Richardson's going to kick behind. Really, well, he tells the tale. He knows he should have done better.
Well, he possibly should have kicked the goal, but that's where you want Matthew Richardson getting the ball deep in the forward line.
Who's on the bench for the Cats, Dipper?
Well, we've got Derek Hall, Glenn Kilpatrick, Clint Bizzle and Jason Snell, and the young boy Paul Lindsay's playing the halfback flank tonight for the Cats.
Number 46 making his debut off the rookie list. Well, the Tigers almost away to a fly. Graham's kick, Chaffey, was hard. Well done. Cut it off. Knight's over the top of the footy. then pushes out. Couldn't quite get onto it. Arnott in there, got a high tackle, I think, was unlucky. It'll be a ball up.
Yeah, Bruce, as you called it, it was a high tackle, but it was on our side of the pack rather than the side of the of Mark Nash, the umpire. That's a fantastic effort by McGrath and Chaffee.
Gee, Lindsay is going to be one of the tallest halfback flankers if we see him play there. 198 centimetres, wearing number 46 for the Cats. The kick forward, and the mark has been taken here by Andrew Callaway. He's been quite reliable in this Tiger lineup for season 1999. He's kicked towards half forward, taken by Arnott. The hand pass blocked, kick off the ground there by Sanderson, lobs the ball close to half forward. Attempting to get the ball there for Geelong was Corrigan. Now the ball comes clear for Brad Scholl. His form over the last couple of weeks has been just a little down on normal performances. Kick forward there by Ottens, lobs the ball at half forward. Graham under pressure, gets his left foot to it, clears the ball out towards the wing. Riccardi onto it, not quite quick enough, and not able to control the football, Sampson, but Riccardi. Sampson keeping it in, really advantaged Riccardi. Well done, Clay Sampson. Second effort, terrific. Campbell keeps the football alive, gets it up towards half forward for the Tigers. Hand pass came out from Arnott to McGrath. McGrath's kick goes towards half forward. Well gathered, good control of the footy by Barnes. The kick, he lets himself down a little. Burns to swoop on it. Tackled there by Ottens. Good play by the big fellow. Kicked away by Knights. Gathered here by Richardson. He looks determined. Man on a mission. Nick Daffy towards half forward. And the mark is taken down here by, it looks like Platt, is it?
Gee, plenty of fire early on in this match too. Some great contests for 50-50 balls. Players just throwing their bodies at it.
Jason, no breeze down here at the moment. As Bruce mentioned, we did have some rain before. The ball is quite slippery, but you expect him to keep the distance here.
Justin Platt for the Tigers. The man on the mark is about 40 metres from goal. You would expect a player of Platt's ability to kick the distance. The line's up from about 40. Goes out to the right. Well, it was a 2 out of 10 result for Justin Platt. He's kicked it out of bounds to the full.
And you can always tell when players will struggle for distance. They run round in a big arc just before the point of contact. And as soon as you lose direction of where you're kicking it, you're going to be in trouble.
Sanderson got it from Milburn. Kicks to centre wing, Steinford. Handball by Platt. And then Ottens had it cut off. Try Steinford and a boundary throw in. Some of the matchups on screen. Carl Steinford, who played his first game this season last week in that losing effort against the Bombers. Right in front of our commentary position here at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Lindsay, Knights. Very hard to get it away, and it looked as if it was a high tackle originally on the Richmond player, but a ball up. What about the Tiger bench, Dipper? And hold your breath here. There's one that you remember.
Yes, my good mate Mark Drazovic. Brett Evans, Brendan Garland, Michael Proctor.
Good on you, Dipper. It's Knights. Quick kick. Almost to 50 here. McGrath, well, he missed it in the end, and Richardson takes off, and Richo goes, bends it back. Well, how about that one? Missed the easy one, kicked the hardy.
Come on, head down, hit it hard. You're not Tigers, you're pussies. When I say hit it, I mean hit it, and hit it hard. My 12-year-old granddaughter can do better than that. You're soft, you're nothing, you're hurt for nothing. Oh, please don't hurt me, you great big wusses. You make me sick! Oh! Well, these are the only crunches the Tigers like to see.
Well, folks, get a look at the replay of that goal kicked by Matthew Richardson. He missed one earlier, which everyone probably thought he should have kicked, but that was a beauty. The play before, the kick, and the accuracy, terrific play by Matthew Richardson. A struggle around the middle of the ground. Chaffee kicks it forward for the Tigers. A contest at half forward. Ben Holland. Back goes Broderick. Scholl kicked away by Richardson. Still a chance here for the Tigers. It's Powell with the football. Gives away a little bit of ground. The kick is reasonably well weighted. It's very well marked by Andrew Callaway. Away to brother Duncan. Duncan's kick towards half forward. No mark taken. Ball spills to the front. Snapshot by Holland. Across his left shoulder, bounces right on the line, through for a behind to the Tigers.
And Robbo, interesting to look into the Geelong backline now and see no Ben Graham. He's actually gone forward. I think when they realised the matchup was against Justin Platt, they thought, well, I can take a bit of a gamble here. He's probably not going to kick a bag that's going to hurt us, so we'll send him forward and see if he can contribute at the other end. And he's the only one inside the forward 50 for Geelong.
And Ben Graham, Jason's gone the full forward for the...
Yes, Dip,
Tigers,
we've acknowledged that. Thank you.
For the Cats. Thanks, Dipper. Ben Graham with Ben Harrison on him. Good mark to Ottens. He's a very promising player.
Good boy, Bruce. He's a good young fellow.
Still not... Well, he's 19. He's only a kid. Saw him kick 4 goals against the Kangaroos earlier this year. He gets under it a bit. It's almost to the square. Richardson getting involved. A couple against him, including Sanderson. Mansfield towards the pocket. Broderick tucked away. Goes to his right foot. Control kick is a good one. Powell runs it hard. Misses it. Milburn hasn't quite got it at the moment. Over the top. The handball from Raleigh. The advantage given to McGrath. McGrath kicks to centre wing. Steinfeld pushed to the back. Will get a free kick.
I think Milburn's attack on the ball back there in the back pocket is an indication of just where Geelong's confidence is at. In the early games, in the first 5 games that they won, there was no fumbling. There was all one grab stuff, and it was terrific by Milburn. Just hesitated there.
Steinfeld to half forward. No cat flyers. Ottens drifts across and takes the mark. As Jason said, Ben Graham basically at full forward now in the goal square, and nobody else within about 50 metres of him. Ottens, it's a neat kick, almost a half forward. Richardson was the fly. Scholl read it beautifully at the front. High tackle. Powell coming in. Scholl was in a bit of trouble. He had not too many places to go, but he was okay in the end. Gets it to Mensch on the burst.
There a chance here, Geelong. Mensch takes about 5 metres to steady, kicks to full forward, and Ben Graham's got it. Well, no question about the distance here. He's player on the mark is about 42 metres from goal. Ben Graham, slight angle. He is a magnificent kick of the football.
We saw a lot of him up forward last week, Robbo. He certainly knows he's played a lot of football up forward as a junior.
Beautiful kicking style, magnificent shot at goal, and he gets the Cats' first goal, does Ben Graham.
Who could forget Shane Gould winning 5 medals at the Munich Olympics?
You can't forget the Awesome Foursome's first gold medal win in Barcelona.
For me, I'll never forget Madam Butterfly's win in Atlanta.
Keep collecting your unique set of 24 official Olympic posters from every games of the modern era for just $1 each with the Herald Sun. Get the coupon in the Herald Sun tomorrow and every day. No one gets you closer than your official Olympic partner, the Saturday Herald Sun.
We've marvelled at his kicking in over the years. We're starting to get very impressed with the way he does it at the other end, haven't we? Changed there. McKee's gone to Graham. A bit of height there. Graham much taller than Harrison. So the Cats steady. It's 1-2 to a goal. Steinfeld getting his hands on it a bit. But the Cats under pressure here. Handball by Milburn held up. It's an interesting one about Ben Graham. I mean, you almost feel as if we're seeing a change in his career, aren't we, in the last 2 weeks? That Silvani was always going to be more a full-back than a full forward. He's 32 years of age. This bloke could end up being a very key forward over the next 5 or 6 years.
Particularly if someone like David Mensch can do a job on the tall down the other end.
Holland, little give by Mensch was okay. Hocking and Knights, G2 are the real greats there, aren't they? As Arnott gets up and under and kicks to centre half forward. Mooney and Gasper, that was a good contest. Otten's getting back to Rovert, didn't quite get down, has a second go. Handball was good to Gasper. Gasper round the body, gets distance to centre wing, but in the front spot was Sanderson. He'd worked to the front on Kellaway and won it, and then goes down the line to Barnes. Has got in there. Barnes inside, maybe to Raleigh. Oh, that's yeah, okay. Raleigh on the burst, 48 metres out. It's going for goal. He's hooked it as a behind. Johnny Barnes, good touch there. I thought the handball was on, but the little kick worked.
Yeah, it looked a dangerous disposal, but he executed it beautifully. It had to be spot on, and it was, and basically Raleigh didn't have to change stride when he marked the ball.
Campbell to himself, and then goes short. Mark is taken here by Powell for the Tigers. He runs outside his defensive 50, kicks out in the direction there of McKee. He gathers the ball pretty well, kicks with the left, down the line, beautifully gathered by Richardson. Hand pass off to Daffy. Daffy's left foot kick, up towards full forward, punched away by Plapp. Good defensive play by the forward. Through goes Mansfield. He's chased down by Plapp, has to handball down the line and forces a boundary throw in about 65 to 70 metres away from the Richmond goal. Tigers have kicked a goal through Matthew Richardson. Ben Graham has kicked a goal for Geelong, and that is what is presenting itself weather-wise at the cricket ground tonight for Friday night football on 7. Ruck work being done by Holland, punched away there by Milburn, gathered by Chaffey. His kick not really resulting in all that much for the Tigers. Daffy just a kick towards half forward. Barnes tackled, well done. Broderick locked him up, and he's going to be rewarded with the free kick. Good disciplined football by Broderick. The ball will go back, surely, John.
Yeah, the ball will come back, Robbo, and as you called it, penalised for incorrect disposal after he was tackled. So, Tigers kick.
He's normally a very good kick, Broderick. Pushes it out in front. Richo waits. McGrath with him. Richardson still hasn't fallen over. That's important. The handball. Kellaway, not a bad play, actually, belting it forward. He was under the gun. Ottens goes to ground. McGrath gets back, under pressure, little kick. Steinford attacked it pretty well, then had to get rid of it in a hurry. May get a free kick for hanging on. He does.
Is that 50? Should be 50, shouldn't it?
Yeah, the umpires won't pay the 50 unless they're absolutely certain that the offending player knew that the free kick was against them, and you'd certainly suggest that in this situation the Tigers did know that it was a Geelong kick, so the 50 should have been paid.
So Steinford out very wide. Milburn. He's very high in the Channel 7 Football of the Year, Milburn, but he has been marking time for about 6 weeks. Great have the Cats. It was a good kick to Mooney. Mooney to Barnes is normally a very good kick. Should have gone long, I reckon. Arnott's got it. Graham had presented himself. Arnott's kick to the goal square. McKee gets back. I thought the long kick was on then for Graham.
It was. Ben Graham had put on a good lead, and if Johnny Barnes had looked a little bit further afield, he's a pretty good kick, Barnesy, and you'd back him to hit a target over about a 45 to 50 metre kick.
They're a hardened lot, the football supporters of their respective teams here tonight, turning out in good numbers. Geelong's form not all that spectacular. Gary Ayres is pretty confident that they can turn it around. Well, they're under the pump here tonight. Robert Powell, after receiving from Harrison, gets onto his left. Very well done in the finish. Got the well down the ground. Left foot kick has been strongly marked by McGrath. He started very positively. Tim McGrath goes out wide to Burns. Burns as elusive as ever. Good kick, a beauty onto the chest of Riccardi inside the forward 50.
Great play by Tim McGrath too on the wing. He took front position against Matty Richardson, backed himself in once he saw the ball dropping short and played on. Set it up to Burns, who disposed of it beautifully to Riccardi.
He's kicked 7 goals, 13 this year, Riccardi, so he's missed a lot. He's normally a very good kick.
And
on the burst,
on the run.
On the burst, I was going to say yes, Jason, but well, here he is, and set a stage for Peter Riccardi. Get the distance, surely, and it's a good kick. Geelong have got their second on the scoreboard.
Prices you can't go past on the multi-award-winning Mirage from $13,990. Lancer GLI Coupe $18,490 with air, and Lancer GLI Sedan $24,990 drive away with air. The Mitsubishi end of financial year sale now on.
It is Mitsubishi.
Interesting there, the matchup. Obviously Campbell trying to get Riccardi, and also Daniel Lowther in there for Geelong. Richmond through Bowden, dispossessed. In goes Gary Hocking. We become accustomed to watching him in and under. That was Lindsay too, showing a bit of desperation for Geelong around the football. Jeff Geeshan and Ross Lyon off to the right there. One of Jeff Geeshan's trusty lieutenants in the coach's box for the Tigers. Lindsay doing the ruck work. In went Gary Hocking. Didn't take the football with him. May have collected 1 or 2 of the Tiger boys as he tried to crash his way through. Umpire will bounce.
I'll just say this, Robbo, 15 minutes into the first quarter, Gary Hocking's had 1 handball. Duncan Kellaway's done a very good job sticking very close to him.
The big playmaker for the Cats, Hocking. Lindsay doing some ruck work. Burns going the wrong way now, Hocking, but the handball to nobody. Daffy's getting the ball, and the left foot kick to fall forward, and Richardson's got it. Well, this is a fascinating duel because McGrath's getting a bit of it, but Richo's probably getting too much of it from McGrath's point of view.
Well, he is, and particularly if he's got space to lead into, he's nearly unstoppable. There's not a player in the league who's quicker off the mark or quicker over a distance than Matthew Richardson. And a bloke that size, when he puts his big frame in front and he's hitting it at full speed, there is no way he can defend it.
Well, the fans will have their hearts in their mouths because this has been his problem over the years. That's a good kick.
That was an interesting kick too. He stabbed it very low. I don't know if that's the sort of thing you'd like to see him do. You prefer to see them kick the ball exactly the same way every time, but he decided in the conditions that he'd stab it low, and you never knock someone when they kick the goal.
Absolutely. Daffy important early, I reckon, for the Tigers.
4 he's had.
Yep.
And Gary Hogan probably should have thrown it on the boot rather than handball into a 50-50 contest.
So let's have a look at this low kick from Richardson.
Yeah, no high follow-through. Very low follow-through.
Well, he's got 2, and it's all square here at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. 2-2 apiece.
Oh, good start by Matthew Richardson, much maligned, but he's a tremendous footballer for the Tigers, in my opinion. They go forward again here through Knights from the centre bounce. It goes into pretty well no man's land, so the race is on. Platt, Broderick tries to control it. Paul Broderick, he's been a very good player for the Tigers in his career since crossing from the Lions. But close to the line, Sampson tries to get it back to Broderick, looking to find some space. Gets it to Powell, in turn to Duncan Callaway. Milburn providing the pressure on that player. The ball spills for Scholl, not able to control the footy. It really is very tight in and under at half forward for the Tigers. Umpires allowing play to go on. Harrison out wide to Powell. Powell's left foot kick across his right shoulder to full forward. McGrath and Richardson helping out on the back line is Barnes up against the goal line, but Johnny Barnes able to collect his thoughts and kick it long out wide, but a terrific mark taken by Harrison for Richmond to keep the Tigers in attack. 14 apiece. MCG football, Tigers versus the Cats. Harrison's kick, threatening area, high flyer Richardson couldn't control the mark. Scholl, the little hand pass. No, he's going to get the football. In underneath there was Mansfield who got the hand pass out. The ball comes out to the wing. Harrison, well, he let himself down a little. He had control of the football. The hand pass was chopped off. The rebound footy will favour the Cats. Rogers' tackle on Burns was good. Ball spills for a throw-in.
And the crowd appealing for that to be paid as incorrect disposal, but as soon as Ronnie Burns took possession of the footy, the tackle dislodges it. He takes possession and
no attempt to dispose of it,
I suppose he could have thrown his boot at it, but
John, you're wavering.
Yeah, well,
stay strong, John.
No, he could have thrown his boot at it. But I tell you what, it would have been a game bloke to pay it because it was very, very quick.
Broderick, Hocking, well done, Buddha. Beautifully done. Raleigh. Now Graham will be the target. He's got him. Well, Hocking was good there.
Have a look at Johnny Barnes, Bruce.
Yeah, on his own in the pocket. Dipper running down, but I've got a feeling this
bit of a blue one behind play, Bruce.
Gee, careful, boys. Careful. First gamer there, getting involved.
I don't know if Stephen McKee is the right player to play on Ben Graham. He matches him height-wise, but Graham particularly quick.
Gee, he can kick a footy. He can kick a footy. It's like a machine, isn't he? It's like...
Share in the enthralling conclusion of a journey between worlds.
So you're my brother.
A land rich in history and tradition, where an inventor's wildest dreams can come true.
It sounds just right.
A special world around us, Saturday 6:30 on 7.
Brisbane, get ready for a bomber attack.
It's the battle of the round. Third against second.
The Bombers are coming.
Saturday night footy. Brisbane meet the Bombers, then the Crows and the Pies. Starts live 7:30 on 7.
Well, have a look at Ben Graham's kicking style and you'll soon find out how to kick the oval Australian rules football. He's a beautiful kick of the footy. He's kicked 2 goals, as Matthew Richardson has for the Tigers. A struggle around the centre. Duncan Callaway is in underneath there somewhere. Not able to get clear of that congestion, so the umpire will bounce.
I think Johnny Barnes complained about the bounce here to the umpire.
I'm sure you're right, Dipper. He certainly had a lot to say because that last centre bounce was a shocker.
7 minutes left in the first term. Geelong lead their 3-2 to 2-2. Player on screen there is Daniel Lowther, number 29. Raleigh's pass to Ben Graham was a beauty just a few moments ago to get Geelong's 3rd goal. Now that's a crude tackle on the football by Gary Hocking. Surely that's got to be a free kick to the Tigers, John.
Yeah, we've seen a few of those paid, and they're the ones you would talk about because many would say, I mean, certainly the Richmond player has caused or contributed to it a little.
Well, the kick goes wide to Ottens. His kick into the pocket, a little too deep, a little too fierce there. That kick of the football by Brad Ottens meant for Matthew Richardson.
Now that's disappointing. That's not where you want to be kicking, and it's not where you want to be leading. If the player does lead there, you need to have the common sense to say, no, I'm going to ignore that lead and drive it into a more attacking position.
Harrison gone back on the full forward of Geelong.
Yes, good one,
Brian,
Dip. Thanks for that. Yep. Mensch gets the ball away from the ruck contest, kicks it down the line, and kicked away there by Corrigan, I think it was it? And he gained about 5 or 6 metres for the Cats, and forces a throw in once again. There's Ben Graham. Well, Harrison was on him early. He kicked a goal, looked really threatening, and they put McKee back there. Jason mentioned that maybe he didn't have the athleticism, agility to go with Ben Graham, so Ben Harrison being tried again early in this match. Ronnie Burns, exciting player, isn't he? Beautiful kick onto the chest of Mooney. Mooney goes for Graham, good kick, yes. Well done, Jason, picked that early. Ben Graham's got the ball. The angle is a little difficult.
Gee, Jason Mooney was terrific there. He turned on one step, he realised that Ben Graham was one out, and he just quickly summed up which way he was going to go. He knew he was at the back of him, and Harrison was a little bit unsighted, and he knew he'd lead that way and just put it there.
Pretty good return. 3 out of 4 for Ben Graham in the first term.
Tell you what, Jace, he plays like a defender because he doesn't try to improve the angle when he's got a set shot at goal. He stays on his correct line of kick. It's amazing.
Well, you don't need to improve it when you're kicking it that well. Interestingly enough that Richmond have had the ball inside their forward 50 twice as much as Geelong, but Geelong certainly showing superior effectiveness at this stage.
Well, I reckon George Foreman, who's at the footy for the first time tonight, must think that Ben Graham's one of the great modern-day goal kickers. Must have thought he'd been playing a full forward all his life. If this is the first game you've ever been to, he just looks made for the job, doesn't he? Ready. 2-2 to 4-2. Good lead here. Couple of goals now to the Cats after the Tigers made the early running. Kicked to centre half full. That's a good mark by Milburn. Across and then wide. Hocking, Kellaway. Important you don't fall over here. Kellaway worried him out. Knight's got involved too. Little hands there from Chappie, good. Belted forward by Daffy to half forward. Oh, good mark, Clapp in the front. On his chest. Gives Mansfield a little bit to go on with.
Well, you'd hope that he kicks it a little bit better than he did last time. It was a very good mark. He just got on the attacking side of Mansfield, used one arm to just keep him away, give himself correct position. A good leap and a good mark, and he needs a solid kick here.
He's going up and marked the spot. How does it play on your mind, do you think, when you've had a really bad kick first up?
Well, it's always something that is in the back of your mind. Your confidence isn't quite right until you do kick one, but at least this time he knows that distance isn't a problem, so he can just go through his set routine, not worry about anything except kicking through the ball on the right line. He'll have the distance covered. He shouldn't make a mistake from here.
He's only played a couple of senior games this year. Back in the team tonight, gets underneath it. It's close, it looks all right. He's got it.
Eleanor.
Leonard?
I think I'm in trouble.
Hold it! Right!
A drug bust leads to a discovery that will shock.
Eleanor Front, please place your hands behind your back.
Excuse me?
The knife they found in your drawer is the weapon used to cut off Susan Robbins' head.
This time,
Somebody's framing me.
it's one of their own accused of murder.
The arrest of Eleanor Front is immoral.
I completely reject that.
Your client is charged with first-degree murder.
But if she's innocent,
How the hell did it get in her desk?
who's guilty? The Practice, Tuesday.
In the middle, picking up Knights, and Steinford's come off for Geelong.
Yes, Dipper, thank you for that. Steinford off the ground. 3-2 to 4-2, Geelong lead. Richmond have kicked their third goal through Justin Platt. Lowther not able to control the footy. It's pretty hot around the middle of the ground. Sanderson, well done. Raleigh, who's been prominent. Hand passes on. Knocked forward again for Geelong by Kilpatrick. Now the gather by Riccardi, slung to the ground there by Powell. Lowther has the football. It spills out wide to Burns. Burns favoured by the left foot into the pocket. Ben Graham up against the boundary line. Harrison slips over. Handball to Kilpatrick, not clear for a rush behind by Matthew Knights. And that is the score to Geelong, another behind.
You can see what Ben Graham was trying to do. He just didn't fancy his chances of kicking the miracle goal. He thought a long hand pass could pick out a Geelong player in the square, but it just didn't quite come off.
Got to get a little bit more from this player, Richmond. Joel Bowden, a couple of years ago, had a pretty good season. Just dropped back to a rather mediocre player, I think, but he's got plenty of ability. Ball finishes now in the middle of the ground with McKee. Looks as though he's trying to get the hand pass off, and he does, to the favoured left foot there of Matthew Knights. His kick goes wide, taken by Chaffee. They've just entered their forward half of the ground, the Tigers. Lead being provided by Plapp. The kick goes in that direction, but it's, well, that's a mark, surely, to Minch. Umpire right on the scene there, Stephen Hanley, to award the mark. Hand pass away there to Sanderson. His kick, Kilpatrick and Knights. Kilpatrick tried very hard to get rid of Matthew Knights, but in over the football was the Richmond skipper. Now a struggle. It's Lindsay underneath the pack. He can't get the ball clear. The umpire will ball it up on centre wing right near the sponsor's logo. Supporters pretty well rugged up. It's a cold evening here in Melbourne.
Robbo, John Barnes by himself a centre half forward. He's been there for about a minute or so.
Thanks, Dipper. McKee to Daffy. Daffy kicks the ball to half forward. Milburn just got a finger on it. Then off the ground by Sampson. Again ricochets. Minch back was okay. Milburn over the top. Missed Scholl. Breaking through Daffy. Scholl held him up a bit. Daffy's handball to space. Sampson will have to come back. He does. Platt went in and did a shepherd. Sampson to the goal square. Richo's got it.
Push.
A push.
Oh, it's got
50 metres too.
And has to be.
That's pretty ordinary, isn't it, Jason?
Yeah,
I mean,
if he's not careful, he'll give away another one, Robbo, because he's disputing the decision now. So,
well, once it's done, yeah. John. I mean, today's football, you just got to cop it sweet.
And McGrath's going to kick it to Sanderson. So some rebound footy here. Ben Graham a target. Kicks to full forward. Hawkins at the back. Ottens off Graham. Graham's got it. Ottens came in from the side, but Graham's got it. Well, we keep harping about how good he is up there. I don't reckon there'll be any question next time they play where he starts.
He's playing like a man possessed. He's clearly outnumbered. He's got his direct opponent on him, the ruckman coming over the top, and just one strong grab. That's fantastic footy. He'll kick his fourth for the quarter here.
25 years of age. Prior to last week, he kicked 7 goals in his league career. There's the angle from the other end of the ground.
You wouldn't believe it.
Well, he's missed. 3 goals, 1. I'll go back to that. He kicked 7 goals in 95 matches prior to... There's Richard, let's have a look. And he's kicked 7 in the last 2 weeks now. Well, I don't know. I reckon
as Robbo said, you've got to cop it sweet no matter how angry you are, and he's coming off now, assisted by the runner. Yeah. I'm sure we'll have a chat to Jeff Geeshan.
And Jace, we've mentioned it a few times, if there are 2 distinct actions, the push and then the mark, 9 times out of 10, the umpires will penalise it for marking interference, and rightly so, because otherwise his intention is just to get rid of McGrath in that marking contest before the ball's there.
Well, John, it's the coach who just has to show strength here, because there's 21 other players that he's asking to do the right thing, and when you've got your star player doing something like that, he just can't get away with it. And Jeff Geeshan showing a bit of strength there to have a chat to Matthew Richardson. We've got 2 minutes left in the first term. He can settle, get back at the start of the second term and get right into it again.
I was watching Jeff Geeshan give him that message as the box is right behind me. He just said it calmly, Robbo. He didn't scream at the young boy. He just said, stick around the forward line. You just tell by his hand movements.
Well, it's all those sort of things that mount up to a great victory, and if the Tigers are going to win this game against Geelong, they've got to be a fairly disciplined unit. The ball gets close to half forward. Just very well done there by Paul Broderick. Well, not favouring there Evans, slipping off to the right when he probably would have been favoured by the ball spinning on its end and staying inside the field of play. Frustratingly, it goes over for a boundary throw-in.
Bit of luck for Tim McGrath, because he tried to take the ball with him and completely missed it, and gee, if it sat up, Richmond are away.
28 plays 20, close to quarter time. It's been an open contest and some good tough stuff in and under too. Scholl, little left foot kick. Bounces quite nicely for Corrigan. He gets it to Lowther. Lowther now kicks it very directly towards half forward. Well, maybe the mark could have been taken back there by Duncan Kellaway. He decided to go for the punch away. And again, Richmond playing the percentages. A little hack off the ground there by McKee. Goes over for a throw-in just forward of centre wing favouring Geelong.
Yeah, Robbo, the way Duncan Kellaway went for that mark, I'm sure he lost it in the lights, and he just couldn't see it clearly as it arrived.
8-point margin, close to quarter time here. Front spot Ottens. Raleigh read it pretty well, held up by Bowden and also Chaffee. Ball now coming clear, being held onto a bit there, the Cat. Inanna. Scholl was good. Very good. Can create something here. Lovely neat kick to Barnes. Now Ben Graham's in the goal square. Can John get that far with the kick? Now Graham leads. The kick not so good. Mooney trying to get onto it. Couldn't quite. Hocking scooped it up. Taken by Knights. Knights to Broderick. Running out of room. High tackle. It'll come back to Broderick.
Was he a bit lucky to get away with that, John?
Yeah, it was an indiscriminate tackle, but he did duck his head a bit. But there was no attempt to tackle him legally. So that's why the free kick was paid.
Chaffee at centre wing. Tigers maybe one last chance before quarter time. Kick to Platt. at the back, belted away from by Mansfield. Riccardi on the up, little kick didn't go far enough. Taken by Powell, he's on his wrong side, he's a left footer, hooks it back to full forward. Front spot was Ottens, still Ottens, comes to Evans. Terrific tackle by Lindsay in his first match. The advantage given to Lowther. Lowther's handball to Riccardi. Riccardi streaming through centre half back. Maybe with the Cats a late chance. They haven't got much time. Kilpatrick goes towards Ben Graham. He'll have to turn and kick it. He's about 60 metres out. Graham with the footy under the pump, and the siren sounds for a good first quarter. And that man played a major role. He really should have kicked 4. He got the hard ones and missed the easy one at the end. He's got 3. Richo's got a couple. Tigers came out running. Cats took control for a bit. But both of these coaches, well, they've had a frustrating season. I think both of them. There's Richardson. So important now. He's just got to forget it now. It's been a fair while ago, the old push in the back on McGrath. Not much in it, agreed. But, well, you've got to pick up the pieces. No question about that. Daffy's been good in the opening term. But, well, for only the 3rd time this season, in 12 matches, Geelong lead at quarter time. Maybe that'll be a good omen for them. It's the Tigers 3-2, the Cats 4-4.
Tonight's weather up.